In the amber hush of a Cornish autumn, where hedgerows bowed like weary sentinels under the weight of fading leaves, Elias Hawthorne turned his sleek Aston Martin onto a gravel lane he'd once sworn never to tread again. 5 years had etched their relentless march across his life, a chasm spanned by boardrooms in Singapore, mergers in Manhattan, and a fortune that swelled like the Thames at flood. At 42, Elias was the architect of Hawthorne Global, her empire of emerald mines and ethical tech that graced Forbes lists with his name in bold. Yet, the rearview mirror reflected hollow victories, a penthouse echoing with silence, a calendar scarred by solitary evenings, and the ghost of a laughter he'd traded for ambition. Amelia Evergreen had been his anchor, once, a painter whose canvases bled with the wild hues of the moors, her auburn curls framing eyes like storm-tossed seas. They'd met in a gale-swept gallery in St. Ives, her brushstrokes capturing the chaos he craved to tame. Marriage bloomed swift as heather, a daughter arriving like dawn's first blush, Leela, with her mother's freckles and his unyielding gaze. But Elias's hunger outgrew their thatched cottage. A venture capital whisper lured him to London, then beyond. It's temporary, he'd promised, suitcase in hand, as Amelia cradled newborn Leela against the chill of unspoken farewells. The divorce papers arrived by courier 6 months later, ink cold as winter rain. He sent checks, generous, impersonal, enough to keep the roof overhead, but never enough to bridge the rift he'd carved. Now, the cottage emerged from the mist, its stone walls weathered but defiant, wisteria clinging like old vows. Elias's heart stuttered as he parked, the engine's purr dying into the symphony of gulls and waves crashing distant cliffs. He clutched a leather portfolio, its contents a secret heavier than gold. The door creaked open before he knocked, and there she stood, Amelia, 38 now, her beauty honed by time's gentle chisel, lines of quiet strength around her mouth, silver threading her curls like moonlight on water. She wore a smock splashed with cerulean and ochre, the scent of turpentine and sea salt wrapping around him like a half-forgotten embrace. Elias, she said, her voice a melody tempered by thorns. No warmth, no venom, just the steady cadence of survival. Behind her, the sitting room glowed with afternoon light filtering through mullioned windows, canvases leaning like sentries, seascapes alive with fury, portraits of a girl on the cusp of womanhood, eyes alight with dreams unbowed. He swallowed the knot in his throat. Amelia, I needed to see you. Both of you. His gaze drifted past her to the kitchen table, where Leela, 10 now, all gangly limbs and wild spirit, hunched over a sketchpad, charcoal smudging her fingers. She looked up, recognition flickering like a match in wind. Daddy. The word hung, fragile as spider silk, 5 years distilled into 2 syllables. Amelia's hand tightened on the doorframe, a shield against the tide. Leela's at art club most afternoons. But today, she's home early. Sick with a cold. Her tone brooked no evasion. This was no serendipity, but an intrusion she'd anticipated. Elias stepped inside, the cottage enveloping him in memories. The creak of floorboards where they'd danced to vinyl records, the hearth where Leela's first laugh had warmed the frost from his bones. He knelt before his daughter, the millionaire reduced to a man, offering a tentative smile. I've missed you, little storm. What's that you're drawing? Leela tilted the pad. A fierce dragon coiled around a lighthouse, defying tempests. It's for Mummy's show. She paints the sea, but I add the monsters that fight it. Her eyes, so like his own, emerald flecked with gold, searched his face, not with accusation, but a child's unfiltered curiosity laced with ache. Why'd you leave, Daddy? Mummy says you chased stars, but stars come back at night. The question pierced like a gull's cry. Elias's chest constricted. He'd scripted apologies in jet-lagged hotels, but none withstood her gaze. Amelia watched from the doorway, arms folded, her silence a canvas awaiting his stroke. He rose, gesturing to the portfolio. May we talk? Alone, in the sun-dappled studio at the cottage's rear, once the shared sanctuary, Amelia poured tea from a chipped pot, steam rising like unspoken regrets. What do you want, Elias? Money's fine. We've managed. Leela's scholarships cover the rest. Her voice cracked on the edges, betraying the nights she'd painted through tears, turning pain into pigments sold in local galleries to fund Leela's dreams. He opened the portfolio, sliding documents across the scarred oak table. Deeds, ledgers, a will rewritten in haste. I want to give it back. All of it. Her brow furrowed, confusion blooming to disbelief as she scanned the pages. Hawthorne Global, his life's forge, was being restructured, 51% shares transferred to the Evergreen Art Foundation, a trust in her and Leela's names. Not just wealth, but purpose. The company's new charter diverted profits to coastal conservation and artist residencies, transforming emerald mines into eco-sanctuaries, tech labs into creative hubs. And at its heart, a clause funding a street. Ives Gallery, the one Amelia had sketched in her youth, a beacon for women artists adrift in shadows. You. What? Amelia's fingers trembled on the paper. Forgotten. This is your empire, the one you built from us. Elias leaned forward, his tailored suit absurd amid the chaos of half-finished oils. I built it on sand, Amelia. Leaving you was the gravest theft, not of time, but of light. These 5 years, I've conquered markets, but lost the only world that mattered. Last month, in a Jakarta high-rise, staring at a skyline of steel, I saw Leela's face in the rain-streaked glass. Your face. I flew charter after charter, chasing ghosts, until I landed here. Tears welled, unbidden, tracing paths down cheeks bronzed by boardroom suns. This isn't redemption's coin. It's restitution. The foundation is yours to steer, paint the seas, teach Leela to wield brushes like swords. And if you'll have me, not as husband, but as father, as friend. I'll earn my place, one dawn at a time. Amelia's breath hitched, the documents blurring through prisms of salt. She'd rebuilt in his absence. Community classes for wayward teens, murals that mended fractured neighborhoods, Leela's laughter a lifeline against the void. Yet, in his eyes, those eyes that once promised forever, she glimpsed the boy who'd sketched her portrait by candlelight, before ambition's forge hardened him. You think paper mends hearts? She whispered, voice fracturing like wave on rock. Leela asks for you in her sleep. I tell her stars wander, but they always find home. From the doorway, Leela's small voice pierced the veil. Mummy, is Daddy staying for the dragon? She'd wandered in, clutching her sketch, eyes wide with hope's fragile flame. Elias turned, heart shattering into stardust. He scooped her up, the weight of her trust a balm on old wounds. If you'll let me, little one, I'll fight monsters with you. Amelia crossed to them, her hand finding his shoulder, not in forgiveness's full bloom, but in tentative thaw. As twilight bled crimson across the moors, they sat together, father reading Leela's tale aloud, mother adding flourishes with a smile that reached her eyes at last. Word rippled through street, Ives like tide pools filling. The mogul's return, not as conqueror, but catalyst. The gallery rose from blueprints to beacon, walls alive with Amelia's visions and Leela's whimsy. Elias divested empires for evenings by the hearth, his fortune a river now feeding roots, not thrones. And in quiet moments, as gulls wheeled against the stars, Amelia's brush found his hand once more, not to paint separation, but reunion's radiant arc. For in the heart's vast gallery, some acts don't just change everything, they repaint the soul, stroke by forgiving stroke, into eternity's light. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heart.